The best preamp under 4K, $4,000. I'm assuming you want to know. On the used market, man, if you look in the used market, I'd say go back to the Merrill Audio Christine preamplifier. It's a great preamplifier for the money. I don't know if you're going to find it for 4,000. One that you may want to try is the Audio Research Reference 5 SE. That you can find for around $5,500 US. What's my opinion on room treatment in the electromagnetic spectrum? I think room treatment is one of the most overlooked things that we all do, and I'm guilty as charged. Okay, I have been doing untreated rooms before I started my YouTube channel. I used to be in my living room, to be honest with you. And now I'm more like, no, you can't have a well-designed system if your room is crap. I know of a lot of people who unfortunately don't have a dedicated room. They're doing it out of their living room, which I did. But I think even in the living room, you can get at least some sort of room treatment. There are all kinds of room treatments now that you can buy with nice, cool designs, different colors that actually blend with your decor and all your decoration in your living room. There are many things you can do now to make your listening space sound better than just being with naked walls. I think if you're taking this seriously, your hobby seriously, you owe it to yourself to have some sort of room treatment to mitigate all this echo and all the reverb and all the reflections that you get from the walls. Okay, and windows. You owe it to yourself. I believe if you haven't done some sort of at least minimal room treatment, you're just wasting your money, and dumping it on more components and more amps and more expensive preamps. It's the stupidest thing you can do because your room is working against it. Okay, so Lampizator Horizon. Yeah, so you guys saw it. Great DAC. It's really one of the best DACs that I have had the pleasure of owning here. A lot of beautiful harmonics, this engagement factor, the detail, the musicality is all there. The feeling that you're almost listening to vinyl or analog, if that makes sense, is definitely highlighted more with this DAC than any other DAC I've owned, including the MSB Select 2, if I'm being honest. I'm not saying it's better than the Select 2. I'm not saying it's better than the MSB Select 2. That's not what I'm saying here. All I'm saying is the Horizon, due to the design and the fact that it uses tubes, it definitely adds things that I normally don't hear through other DACs. Okay, it's a very engaging DAC, and I like it as a preamplifier. It sounds damn good as a preamplifier, if I'm being honest. It's got this large sound stage, it's got beautiful mid range, and of course, remember, you have the ability to roll tubes. So that means you can fine tune it to your liking. You can make this DAC sound any way you want based on the tweeters that you're using. For example, let's say you're using a beryllium tweeter, it's too bright. You can compensate for that by changing tubes on that DAC and making perhaps adjustments so that you'll use a warmer sounding tube. You can perhaps give your presentation a lot more soul. You find your system that perhaps your system sounds very black and white. There's no colors, if that makes sense. This is a perfect opportunity to look into something like the Horizon because, again, it definitely paints colors in ways that other DACs simply do not. You're going to hear a couple of videos with it, and my formal take on the DAC will come at a later date. For now, all I can say is it is definitely one of the best performing DACs I have had here in my lab. What did I think of Synergistic research products? So when I started to use Synergistic products, maybe about 2 years back, I was really blown away by what they did. It's got very interesting technology. Okay, Synergistic research has some tricks up its sleeve to essentially mess around. They mess around with a lot of the phase, okay, in the cables, making the soundstage seem more three-dimensional. There is a lot more detail that happens. I like it. What I don't like about the Synergistic brand in general, I would say, is that they have so many products that it never ends. They got little pieces that you can put. They got like little dots that you can put on the speaker right here that will make the speaker sound better. There is things that you can put around the room that makes the room seem larger. There are all sorts of things that you can do on the subwoofers. And so it never ends. So it's an entire production to do synergistic research. And by the way, I will say this, if you have synergistic research, you have to stick with the brand. It's very hard to play with other cables in the mix, which isn't the case for other cable brands. Okay. With other cable brands, you can do a lot more mix and matching. I feel with synergistic research, once you start that, you got to keep rolling with synergistic research throughout the entire system. You just have to, because it all connects together. And the way it is designed, the cables specifically, I feel sometimes do not interact well at all with other brands in the mix. So it's hard to mix and match when you're using synergistic cables. I would just say I moved away from it, like the way I've moved away from other brands, right? It just happens. You push forward. I'm not going to keep everything forever. And I can tell you that the time that I had it, I thought it really did some impressive things, but I need something with more flexibility. As I said, I want to be able to mix and match. This is why I call this a lab, because this is supposed to allow us to do different combinations that you normally would never see at a show or where your dealer is located, your dealer's, showroom floor, all of that. That's the reason why.